Hey! Hey there! Today I'm going to show you how arcade tuning changed my Gley. I'm just going to go straight to the point here, because there will be a lot of math explanation going on later. This video is just going to talk about the changes in my previous Gley builds, and how to optimize and personalize your own Gley based on your effective hit points, and talk about why we don't need more cooldown for Gley. For the build, we are just going to be using the Gunner build. Massacre build cannot compete with Gley's Gunner build right now, so there's no point to build this, at least for now. Her mobbing will depend on the mobbing weapon. Her bossing will depend on her bossing weapon. The cooldown reduction on arcade tuning might tempt people to get it, because cooldown is always good on Gley. I'm going to tell you why it isn't. You really don't need more cooldown on Gley. As long as you're able to match the duration and cooldown for Gley's third ability, that's enough. Think of it this way. Her third ability doesn't really mean no reload. As I've shown in my previous video, her third skill animation can be treated as the reload. The weapon delay affects this, duration affects this, fire rate affects this, and cooldown affects this. This can also be treated as your average shot per second using this formula, as I've shown in my previous video. There are 3 things you can do to increase your DPS through the third ability: duration, cooldown, and fire rate. So naturally, we would want more of these to take advantage of the unlimited ammo buff, which technically increases our average shot. Where does cooldown come in? Some cooldown is needed because you would want your ability to be off cooldown after the duration. So you will need to invest on cooldown reduction stat to technically keep your third skill at a 100% uptime. So in my previous build, we were able to balance it out at 9.8 seconds using Battle of Stamina module. Investing more into cooldown reduction is going to be a waste, because the optimal way for you to dish out the highest DPS is to consume the third skill duration. You would never want to recast your third skill earlier than the buff duration. Think of it as if you shoot 2 bullets from your weapon, then reload, shoot 2 bullets, then reload. You're basically doing the same thing if you lower your cooldown even more. Going cooldown on arcade tuning will be a waste. You might argue that you can go cooldown and remove the focus module for something else. The problem is that there's no other module in this build for you to increase your HP or even DPS effectively. You can argue resists, but there's a better way. My proposal for arcade tuning is this. With the remaining 21 arcade tuning, you can go to multi-hit, HP, or crit depending on the situation. Going duration allows us to replace Battle of Stamina to Stim Accelerant, essentially boosting our HP modifier by 111.7%, while not wasting tuning nodes on mana and skill power going for cooldown arcade tuning. Instead, we can make Gley even more tankier by using the points and taking the HP route. This only sacrifices us 0.1 second when not using annihilation components, and that's not even noticeable. And when we do, we can reach 10 seconds more than the cooldown. There are 4 popular components for Gley right now: Annihilation set, Hunter and Annihilation combination, Polar Knight set, and Acrobat. The effective hit points is going to change depending on which component set you're using. And because we have high modifiers on our defense and HP thanks to the arcade tuning, we can easily adjust our effective hit points by changing some modules. For example, this is my stats using the arcade tuning, Annihilation and Hunter set. Because we have 2 defense component, we are able to reach 52,430 defense, totaling to 36,109 effective hit points. When we remove the shield conversion, we now have 26,933 defense. But what's this? Our effective hit points only gone down by 1,147. This basically means that the defense module only gave you 1,147 HP. The reason for this is that this game has a harsh diminishing returns when it comes to damage reduction. I updated the damage reduction scaling table with the correct formula, and you'll see that at the higher value, the less damage reduction you'll get. From 29,000 defense, you need 34,000 more defense to increase your damage reduction by 10%. Now, that's not worth at all. You can play with this by going resist, attribute attrition immunity, or even damage reduction modules like the sensory deprivation. Play with the calculator and see which gives the higher value. You can even replace the shield module with HP collector if you like. The same thing can't be said if you're going with full HP modules like Polar Knight. This time, the defense module is giving you so much value because it's multiplying from a low base amount. Using the defense module, we get a valuable 51% damage reduction, giving us a massive 56,871 effective hit points. Imagine replacing shot focus for HP Collector. I also have to mention that the damage reduction is multiplicative, meaning it is a lot more valuable if you have a high base amount, in this case, our HP and shield. For her weapons, these two are the only weapons I use. Again, as any gunner descendants out there, the gunner descendant is only as good as the gun you're using, unless if you're Serena, which every gun is good on her. Restored Relic is my go-to mopping weapon. To avoid making this video long, watch this video. Everything is explained there. This is the Arche tuning I use for Restored Relic. The Last Dagger is my go-to bossing weapon. Again, to avoid making this video long, watch this video and go with crit Arche tuning. This is the Arche tuning I use for the Last Dagger. As for Predator Instinct, it's still better in this case. That's it for this one, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Loading. All my senses have come alive. Loading. Loading. Load. Got me. They will all be killed. I smell death.